But anyway, hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's daily brief. Brian got a little bit distracted here before the start of today's broadcast. Hey, look at that. We're live. So people were accusing me of stealing information and stuff on Twitter, and I was just like, I'm like the last guy in the world to steal other people's ideas because, I mean, fuck. The irony of it all is this guy in particular that's basically telling me I'm stealing information. I was trading before this clown was even born. And while he was in jail for felonies, I was trading away. And I was a fellow of the Canadian Securities Institute, which is supposed to be an ethics designation. I'm the last guy in the world who's going to be stealing shit. But anyway, it is what it is. So I apologize. I'm a little bit frazzled this morning. Alex as well, the mayor of Vienna, is actually taking a Joshua, your sweetheart. The mayor of Vienna, I think, is taking the national jet to I think actually he's going back to LA because Alex, in a former life before we corrupted him with trading, was very involved in the film industry. So he is away, and if he, by all means, Joshua, you are in the right sort of neighborhood. I should reach out to Alex and see if he can say hi to you and anybody else in LA. I think Alex is over there. So anyway, long and short of it here, Mr. Habsburg is away today. So I'm kind of driving the bus here on my own, and as a result, of course, I'm late. Sorry, everybody. But we do have Mr. Bayer here today, and that's, if anything, just before I got this loaded up, I was all frazzled, and he's like, just take a deep breath, no biggie, it's just Twitter, who cares? And so thank you very much, Thomas, for sort of trying to get me back on a level keel here. Ding! Hey, that was well-timed, whoever did that. Is that you?
Yeah.
So, I suppose without further ado, let's, at the very least, say good morning to Mr. Bear. How you doing this morning, Thomas?
I'm doing quite well. Thanks for asking.
Awesome. And of course, when Thomas is here, it makes my life a little easier as he has a nice structure to his offering. And I just get to chime in every once in a while, probably too often. Sorry, everyone. But I get to chime in with my 2 cents on sort of what he's reporting. So it's been probably, I guess, in the end of last week, we last saw Thomas. So, and I better make sure that if I do use any of Thomas's ideas, that I have copyright infringements and paid royalties and made sure that my lawyer has signed everything off. But anyway, I digress. Mr. Bear, where the heck should we start this adventure today?
Well, let's start off and talk about stocks. We had an exception last week where crypto seemed to be getting really exciting, but it doesn't look like anything's changed crypto-wise since last week. So we're going to do stocks as our regularly scheduled program. So to start off, it seems like out of the gate, stocks opened up higher. And that's mainly because evidently there was a tentative deal to prevent this government shutdown and some nonsense about money being committed to a wall here. And
well, they're calling it a fence now, right?
Oh, is it? They settled on a fence as opposed to an actual wall.
Well, from what I understand, Trump was asking for like about $5.5 billion, and the latest deal was that they'd approve $1.5 billion. So it's going to have to be a pretty flimsy wall.
Yeah, maybe they can distribute shock collars to everyone who's trying to come over the border illegally, and they can wear them. And whenever they get across the border, they just get shocked. Probably wouldn't work out so well. Not a good idea. But regardless, this is probably what's fueling this market rise here. It feels very much overfluffed. If you bring up a chart here of the stock market, we are let's see what's going on here before I open my big mouth. Yeah, so we're retesting sort of the highs of this range. You've got this divergence still in play. It's not, I mean, it's technically confirmed, but I want to see this thing drop below the zero line. And it's like, nah, not yet, buddy. It's still trying to make that move. Now, I wouldn't be shocked if we popped the top a little bit and kind of suckered some more people long. I think I mean, keep getting these words from you, Brian. Next thing you know, I'm gonna have to write a Brian dictionary. But the scuttlebutt here.
I think I told you when I was on the CME, they used to literally have a Beamish isms dictionary on the floor.
It's catchy. You've got a lot of catchy phrases and verbiage that just they work and they work well. So the scuttlebutt, as you say, is that many of the traders were looking short. Back a couple of weeks ago into the end of January in this period here. And then I think what happened was when they came out, some of the guys cleared their books from the shorts. Now, I'm wondering if there's still some stragglers left in the market that they want to kind of punch out and sort of flush them out of this market.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, geez. Thanks for reminding me, Brian. Since Alex is not here, I got lazy and I was just listening to you. I have to remember to present you to everybody. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate the heads up there. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I think what's happening is they're just kind of flushing the stragglers that are short out of this market. And I'm interested to know about any big expirations coming up. I didn't actually look any of those up, but it very much seems like they're trying to just wash the stops here. And I mean, today they didn't quite attack the top.
The way that I would interpret this is that Leap's expiry, they hit just a massive home run. So Wall Street is extremely rich right now. And like our 3-step setup. I mean, if anything, everybody, please don't get into the habit of calling direction in the market. The market will fucking make you look like a fool. The market's going to do any old damn thing it wants. But if we wanted to short this, just wait for the 3 steps to come in. Yeah, I mean, the market loves to do that. So, I even heard you last week, Thomas, just saying, there's still no setup here. So I can't touch this. And I think the message is the same. If we do M out here, and now the great part about this is basically on your chart, I see that the 13 EMA is basically a market structure there. If we do M out, let's say mysteriously this is the end of the rally here, boom, and we roll over. Well, we just filled in a gap, so that's actually pretty normal. If we do M out here and lose that 13 EMA and the 200 SMA, well, it's probably going to set up a really pretty short setup, but it ain't here yet. And the bottom line here is, if you are thinking short inclined, you got to wait for it. You can't push a chain. Remember, I used to have my old broker buddy, used to always say, you can't push a chain. You can't push a chain. So, and you don't know. I mean, maybe they take this market to new highs. They could do it. You don't know. Right, so.
Yeah, that's certainly in the cards. And I mean, I guess I should probably run through some trades. I mean, aside from all this crap,
40 points to the upside now, eh? Fuck, they got this thing on the run.
Yeah, and I mean, like you even reiterated, there's no setup yet, but my confidence, or not confidence, but my bias to the short side just continues to grow the longer we stay embedded and overbought here. You can see Mr. Willie is in this area for quite some time now. So it wouldn't, as far as hunting pullbacks, this is the area. Again, you've heard this a million times. We're in a reload zone. So this is where people are going to be looking to accumulate positions. Is that what's going on here? Maybe. Could they possibly be going long? Maybe. You just have, you're a trader. Your opinions have to be loosely held and easily transitioned if they don't turn out to be true, right? That's what makes a good trader, is someone who has an idea, who has an opinion of the market, puts on trades based on those setups, based on that opinion. And if they're proved wrong, no big deal. They just, fuck it, I was wrong. I'm okay admitting that. And they pivot to the opposite or to another idea. Yeah. That's what being a good trader is being nimble on your toes. And the hardest thing for a lot of people is just to let go of the fact that, oh my God, I was wrong. Like, who fucking cares? Like, the only people that care are those Twitter idiots that are bothering Brian. Like, you don't have to be right. You just have to get paid. Like, leave your ego at home. If you want to prove to everyone that you're right in every trade you're taking, you're going to go bankrupt. You're going to fuck yourself over. Just don't try to do that. It just doesn't matter. There's no such thing as being right in this game. It's only about my setup came in, I made money, cool. It's not going to happen 100% of the time. Accept it and be okay with that. I don't know why I went on a rant there. I apologize.
But, you know, and the thing is we keep saying the same message over and over and over and over. So it's good. And if anything, it's really good that the message stays the same day in, day out, day in, day out. So rant away all you want. Just don't rant away. Oh, yeah, let's go and buy it because it's going to the moon. I guarantee it. All right, short of it here, market's still working its way higher. Everybody and their brother, of course, is thinking bearish. So what does the market do? The market goes up. Way to go.
Yeah.
You know, what I find really interesting is this US dollar index. I mean, what a battle here. And now, and this unfortunately is really dangerous for the noobs, because we sort of talked about this in class. There's a big W that's come in here. And what we actually might have happening here now is a big-ass harmonic pattern that we kind of had the exact opposite in crypto, and in Bitcoin just put in a bullish harmonic. Now we're potentially painting a bearish harmonic here on good old US dollar index. So, I mean, you don't know what's going to happen, but the interesting thing is you can see we're into reload zone there on Thomas's screen. And we don't necessarily have momentum confirmation for the bears. Maybe what we need to do is putter around up top here a little bit up in this zone. But the US dollar here could actually roll over again. So, man, this thing is just up and down like a horse drawers, eh?
Yeah, it's really incredible. I mean, this thing is quite volatile and very mixed signals. I hate Forex. I don't think this is kind of like a stop out move, but I definitely think that the direction is a bit confusing. I was almost convinced that we were going to hit this 1618 extension up here, but it seems like 78.6 really put a cork in this one and stopped it from moving much higher.
And of course we had 61.8 tag there almost perfectly, 88.6 against the lows, now 78.6. So this has got Gartley written all over it here. And you know, the interesting thing is for the gold and the silver bugs, right? This would be the scenario ultimately for them if the US dollar did top out here. I don't know whether, you know, what the euro, I haven't really looked at the euro, what it's up to, but maybe it's coming into some sort of key inflection point here and it's going to get its act together. But I'm just, when I loaded up that US dollar index this morning, I was just like, oh boy, this could be trouble.
Yeah, I'm just wondering.
Sorry?
I'm just wondering if this is sort of the recheck of the breakout in the dollar and recheck of the breakdown in the euro before this thing continues. I mean, it looks like the euro put in, just like the dollar put in a W, the euro put in a solid M, and now we're retesting that neckline. Now, as far as a trade is concerned, I don't see it, but from price out, I mean, I'd be shocked, right? If the euro lost this level, that would be really bad for the euro. And I mean, don't get me wrong, Europe is really in deep shit, but I don't think it's time for this thing to lose its lunch just yet. I think that's still got some time to play out.
Yeah, chop Vegas.
Yeah, that's probably what this is.
I'm worried for the level oneers because we did spend so much time in that level one class talking about the W and the US dollar. And if anything, level oneers, if you are watching my screen here, I'll just quickly show you this. This is sort of reason number one why I absolutely am adamant about trade location being our first reason to consider taking a trade. Yeah, there is a W up here, and we talked about that, but this is absolutely a horrible place to be buying US dollars. And I guess you could argue the same sort of thing on the euro. Yeah, there is an M here, but you know, and this is kind of like Bitcoin. Oh, this is a horrible trade location. So, you know, I think probably what Thomas is just basically saying is this is chop Vegas. Let's just leave this shit alone here until we get some sort of resolution here.
It's real simple. If you don't have a proper setup, there's probably a reason why. And if you're thinking short through this and you're like, oh, look, there's an M, all right, that's cool, but what else is really on the table? And what this is telling me is it's just not. There's no short based on having more than one reason other than market structure. And sure, I think market structure will end up, giving you a nice trade 70% of the time by itself, if I'm not mistaken. But combine it with everything else, you have a much higher likelihood of success to this thing working out. And it's hilarious because, almost everything that you're going to learn here through this class and with Brian, if it doesn't match up and you can't find a reason or the proper reasoning to take the trade, there's a damn good reason why. Now, I'm going to give you an example here. This is on Lululemon. This was the yoga company clothing line that, makes all those tight fitting yoga clothes that people wear. I'm just going to leave it at that. And what I was looking for was a short on this thing because it was at 150. And I'm eyeing this short, right? You've got this like really messy looking market structure. You've got this divergence that came in. It came in on the short side, but I wanted to play puts. I don't short the market at all unless I'm playing puts. And the puts were so damn expensive. They didn't fit the SOF at all, right? I mean, they were almost 3 times more than what I would normally pay. And I was like, well, fuck that. I'm not going to buy those things. And it turns out it was a damn good reason I didn't. The reason why I got priced out of this market is for whatever reason, whoever was the market maker there or writing those puts, they decided, well, if you really want to pay that much for them, you're going to end up getting fucked because we want to move this market higher. And then, like, lo and behold, it's just incredible. Like, just keep that in mind that if you're not seeing what you want to see and you're forcing a trade, you're like making a mirage. You're fooling yourself into losing money, essentially. So if it's not there, don't take it. You don't have to trade all the time. Sometimes the best trade is the one that you didn't even take, ironically enough.
Well said, sir. Thank you. Yep.
I feel like I'm echoing you. I'm sorry. I'm just like repeating the stuff that you say because it's
you're the man. You're the man.
All right, I don't want to be a parrot.
And if anything, 30 years experience, I want to hear just broken records. I want to hear the same message over and over and over. And I got to tell you, this is the one reason why I love that TRISOF. Is just because if the numbers don't match up, odds are they're probably not done taking it higher or lower. It's remarkable how well that tool works. And speaking of which, man, I really want to. I think I talked about this one yesterday. I really want to get into this thing. I don't know whether I can pull the trigger today here, though.
I'm
coming in.
I'm in this one long. I bought calls on it. I've got plenty of time. I think I bought them like in early January, but I think I have until June or July. The issue I have here is this gap was left behind when I bought these things. That gave me a nice solid profit, but I wasn't anywhere near my objective. I think that if anyone does want to go for this thing, you gotta not only have your reasons, but I think this gap needs to be filled in. And it seems like it's trying to probe into that area here. Wouldn't shock me that this moving average cross is going to be resistance going forward, and we'll just kind of like flounder in this area before picking its ass off the floor. So, I mean, this is just a position that I'm in. I kind of wanted to talk about a couple of ones that I've been in for a while, just to update if anyone is following them. VIX calls, I'm still holding these. Interestingly, we're like flirting with these lows again. You have to remember, if you haven't gone and bought your calls and you're not crazy, you probably want to wait for a potential probe and filling in of this gap here between 14 and 15. It looks like we're really close to filling that, but maybe a couple more days to the upside, fill that gap, freak everyone out. Oh, the VIX is being put in the bottle. The short VIX trade is back on and everyone's going to make tons of money. And then they're like, nah, just kidding, V bottom. And then whoosh, right back up to the top. That's probably what I'd expect to happen here. Again, this is a V top, so you know what those mean. It means we're going to be back up there at some point. Now, I did have a Starbucks put position, which now is, I took 65% profit down around here when I had hit my double. And it's a damn good thing I did, because now the rest of that position is practically worthless. So despite hitting a double and not selling the whole thing. I really thought we were going to fill in this gap all the way down here, but then the Starbucks CEO comes out and says he's running for president. Their profits started coming out better. And that's pretty much how you end up with 65% profit and the rest a loss.
But if anything, that's great because, you've got this basically is a free position now. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was definitely.
How much risk do you actually have in just holding on to these puts? Do you have what's your risk to your wallet?
0.
Yeah. So I mean, there's far worse positions to be in when trading in the market, and you just never know. What's so ironic about this game is, the guy could come out and fart tomorrow and the damn stock gaps lower. As long as you got that free position, you're laughing.
Potential presidential candidate farts in Starbucks customers' drinks. Stocks tumble.
Gives a whole new meaning to the term mocha latte. All right, enough of that nonsense. Sorry, everyone. That was terrible.
Blowing out your position.
All right. So, excellent discipline. TRI SOFs. There's a reason why Brian likes that model so much. It keeps you out of a lot of sort of iffy trades. Zach's ideas just keep fucking rocking. This guy Zach's gonna own us all by the end of this. It's remarkable. But I think he had a where the hell's my where's my stock list? Yeah, I guess it's over here. He had a bunch of names, and I'm just so proud of Zach because he really just put his nose to the grindstone and just did his research. And just came up with some just beautiful ideas. Now, of course, can't find him when I want him. Look at this goddamn Conagra. I mean, he's going to look at that chart. Hey, that drives you crazy. Look at that chart.
Wow.
Oh, goodness. I don't even know if I'm screen sharing or not. Everybody's going, I can't look at the chart because I don't have it on the screen. But isn't that crazy? So, I mean, and here's the kick in the pants, right? You do one trade on Starbucks, one trade on this Conagra. You got your money back on the Starbucks. There's no risk there. This, I would imagine it'd be interesting just to price these calls. My hunch is they've already doubled. And, I mean, you just rinse and repeat, take that original capital. Once you get your original money back, you got a free position and just let the free ride. Who knows where the hell it goes? It might Starbucks on you. It might Conagra on you, like that Goldcorp one that I did back in the fall. Same logic. In fact, Grim, are you still in that trade? Because Grim had the patience and discipline to stay in that trade. I don't know whether he bailed or not. No? You got a microphone today?
Yeah, no, I'm out of there now.
Okay. Well, anyway, the point, yeah, it's in essence, Brian, yeah. It's basically the same logic as Little Old Lady, right? And selling halves on doubles. Maybe we'll call it. We should think of like a funny name: planting derivatives brokers, planting CBOE corrupt options traders. I don't know. Anyway, so the point is it works well, and to be able to play the big stocks too. And this is the one sort of real bonus about being able to play options. Is that, like maybe your stock like Conagra goes from like 20 to 25 bucks. All right, great. That's a nice 25% return on your money. At the same time, these silly little options can double and triple and stuff. And those are the kind of returns that you guys want. So anyway, continue, sir. I apologize for going off on a tangent there.
No, not at all. I'm just kind of evaluating the internal health of some of this junk stuff. I was looking at junk bonds and corporate debt here, and corporate debt's kind of looking a little bit toppy, but in a terrible location to short.
Yeah, so I could see a nice little jump up above value into your reload zone there, and then it starts to crap out. And again, this is kind of like US dollar. Yes, there was a W there, but horrible trade location. And there was a gentleman on the site, bless his heart, incredibly smart gentleman, but I think he learned a really valuable lesson. in this Chipotle on the power of trade location. So I'll just quickly show you this, and then I'll pop back to there. Hunting shorts, I like to call this like no man's land. Think of the tennis court analogy. I used to teach tennis to people. Try not to play tennis around the middle of the court. You always lose. Try and play close to the baseline or up at the net. And here's a really good example where, this was no man's land. Yeah, there was an M there, but holy moly, did they ever just rip all the shorts a new Starbucks mocha latte. So, just a really good example. Trade location is so important here, guys. So important. All right. Shut up, Brian. Go ahead, Thomas. What do you want to talk about next?
I'm just rolling through a couple names that I was thinking about going long, and it's just really fascinating. Like whenever you can't get priced in, again, same thing. I was looking at Activision to go long, but after seeing this chart, I kind of zoomed way out, and I was like, oh shit, there's way more down to go here. And I didn't understand why the options were so expensive until I did zoom out. And it's interesting to see that into their earnings, they report at the close today, they're breaking to new lows. So they're obviously, whoever is issuing their guidance doesn't think they're going to beat their earnings. Now, here's the thing, right? Going into these earnings, usually action is a bit wonky. So I'm wondering if this has kind of just been knocked down here with an attempt to get the stock cheap. But, you can't really trade that way, and you can't trade with that mentality. The point is, this is just hands off. And I was looking at a couple of the pot stocks. They seem a lot sideways, actually. Tilray is just kind of doing its thing. Kron seems to be the one that's most interesting. And I listened to a podcast about Kron and how they're partnering with Constellation Brands, if I'm not mistaken. And Constellation, back when this thing was like, I don't know, $18 or something, they came in and gave Cronos a huge capital injection, and they kind of want to be the the benchmark or sort of the best product that there is out there when it comes to marijuana, CBD. And CBD is this huge movement going on right now it's one of the extracts from marijuana. It's one of the components in it. And CBD is supposed to have all these, healing components to it that include alleviating seizures. There's a lot of kids with epilepsy who desperately needed this CBD because all the other conventional medications have terrible side effects. Meanwhile, they have one of these, they smoke or they take sublingually CBD extract, and their seizures kind of resolve themselves. But essentially, Cronos is looking to have the fastest, most efficient plant at extracting CBD from hemp, and also planning on acquiring some of the larger hemp manufacturing farms in the country. So not only are they going to have easy access to a large amount of hemp, which, by the way, is now considered legal in the US, according to the Farm Bill. You can just buy it. It looks exactly like marijuana, but it's basically supposed to be less than 0.3 milligrams of THC, and therefore it's considered legal and sold as CBD. And Cronos has a big piece, or at least is trying to get a big piece of that. And a lot of people think that this is undervalued. And, I could go on and on about these pot stocks, but I think we should probably can it for now. But this is an interesting one. But the problem is you can't really buy this one either. I'd be looking for pullbacks probably. I mean, everyone's like,
have you seen Nathaniel's pot stock on my screen here? Look at this fucking thing.
Which one? Oh, is that Pirate? I don't know that one. I thought you were going to bring up Canopy.
We've been talking. This is really the only pot stock that's been really rallying the past week or so. And I made reference on the broiler chicken show that Trader Stewie guy that I like. He was calling this the J-Lo booty bottom because it was such, beautiful wide, beautiful base, double bottom, just absolutely textbook. And of course, this was a TRISOF as well. So if there was a pot stock to be played over the past week or two, I think it was totally this one. All the other ones are kind of like, kind of wishy-washy. And Grim, you're short one of these big pot stocks?
Yeah, I was short on Kron. I actually just took profits on it.
Oh,
Um,
Merry Christmas.
So yeah, it wasn't bad at all. Oh, and I misspoke earlier. Actually, on CAG, I am still in there, and I'm on about the September options on that. So it's still cooking along. CAG, Conagra.
Yeah.
A minute ago, I said I was out of there, but I was thinking of a different stock. I'm still in that one.
Okay, look at that goddamn thing go. Damn. But yeah, on the pot stocks, I don't know whether I need to actually short these names. I don't know. I mean, it just felt to me like maybe just a little too far, too fast. The fluff I talked about recently. One that I would, if you do trade these things, one that I'd keep a close eye on if you're in Canada and you have access to this funny Canadian market. You can see how this is this bot is setting up SNN. And
are you sharing your screen, Brian?
I don't see your screen, Brian. I only see.
Terrible at this. Hold on a second. Present to everyone. I see the heads on YouTube, so I think I've got that sort of right.
Yeah, I can see your screen now, Brian.
Yeah. So if you're interested in playing pot stocks, it's just a 1, 2, 3. It sure looks like this thing's trying to set up a bot here. We'll see how it goes. But if you are interested in pot stocks, I don't know whether if the Americans and Europeans have access to this crazy little Canadian exchange, though. That's one that I'm watching there. But damn, that and of course, here's now this is a good example.
So Suniva, we have access both to the stock and options on it. So
good, you do. Oh, okay, awesome. So you can see it's getting ready to rock and roll. But here's really, really good example of W's in acceptable trade location, right? So W's at the bottom end of the range, sexalicious. W's at the bottom end of the range, sexalicious, right? So that's the kind of, if we were going to be hunting W's, that's where I really want to be hunting these things. And of course, it's gone zooming up here. Again, I do know some people were asking me, names that had already rallied. Well, should I get into this? Is it worth getting into? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm a little concerned about coming late to the party. And, this one was a really good example where somebody asked me here. And I sort of said, risk reward is kind of skewed to sort of equal. And sure enough, like this thing actually gapped lower and opened up down there this morning. But, like Thomas was showing us, the stock market is up huge. So if that's the case and stocks are feeling happy and there's no government shutdowns and Mr. Trump's going to get his fence, whatever, and it's just, tickety-boo, business as usual, maybe the fluff is back in the market and it's fluffy bud time again. Who knows?
Yeah, drink the Kool-Aid until the Fed comes out and goes, just kidding, we're raising rates again.
Exactly. And that's it. That's the irony of it all, is it's the only thing that's preventing the Fed from really doing what they want to do was the fact that the stock market sort of got weak. Stock market goes ripping right back up to the top end of the range. They're going to be like, okay, well, we got the green light to go back doing what we want to do. So go figure, right?
Well, as one podcaster says, Powell is the market's bitch, and I can't agree with him more.
Yeah. All right. Are you taking any long stabs on the? I can't chase these big gold stocks, Brian. It's just too difficult for me. And wow, look at that, Kinross. What's going on with Kinross right here?
This is Kirkland.
Yeah, Kirkland Lake. I can understand. That's it's a bit smaller. Kinross is like a big major in the space.
Oh, let's look
I
at
don't know what the hell TradingView's done to these damn charts. Now I can't get the full screen on this.
Looks very toppy rather.
Yeah, so Kinross used to be one of the old sort of stalwarts. Oh my goodness, look at what TradingView's doing to my charts now. What the hell?
Yeah, this has been happening to me too.
Oh goodness, I don't even know what to do here. I can't show. I want to show you the guys this chart, but TradingView's just said sorry, you lose.
I think Kinross is in a shitty trade location. This is like a gap fill situation, which I can understand why it went to, but I mean, I don't know. Like, what high am I going to use here for my fibs? Do I want to use this one? Yeah, that gives us a wonky looking reload zone. But if you're going to really use the whole range, this isn't quite the best place to be firing off shorts just yet.
No, I definitely don't like that. But I guess what I was just saying earlier was I can't buy these big gold stocks here because and especially with that kind of down movement. Oh boy, this is giving me vertigo. I'd show you these charts, but for some reason, TradingView just doesn't want to let me.
I think liquidity in the market is just like, what the fuck is going on? It's like a tornado when you connect two soda bottles together and you put water in it and you twist it around and the water is going all over the place and moving in different directions and creates this little tornado vacuum. I think that's what's going on. Some kid's just like twisting it back and forth, up and down. It just keeps swishing back and forth and it can't make up his mind which way he wants it to settle. I think that's what's happening here.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes any sense.
Well, the end of this week was when they've been talking about because that's when they got the extension basically on the government, right? As far as funding.
Yeah.
So into this week, we are either going to have a shutdown or not. I bet you the markets are just going a little crazy trying to predict some of that.
Maybe buy the rumor. And of course, if I understand correctly, I heard one sort of, right-wing politician say that Mr. Trump's not going to be happy with this compromise deal that Congress has passed, and he's going to shut the government down anyway. So who knows? You can't write better fiction than reality. I'll tell you that much, bike crackers.
Yeah. So a lot of uncertainty and craziness going on.
Okay, so we spent about 40 minutes bobbing and weaving and kind of not really getting any,
It worked well. So the scuttlebutt, as you say, is that.
So somebody, if you could kindly throw yourself on mute when you join the Hangout, I'd appreciate it. We got a pretty full room here this morning too, eh? All right, so do we want to head on over to crypto now?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
There's some cool news going on and happening here. What should I start with? Let's get this boring one out of the way. So Ethereum was supposed to hard fork to Constantinople and incorporate Constantinople. And then someone discovered this huge bug and they had to postpone it. Ethereum tanked. And now we're back at, maybe we're ready for it. Now they're calling this kind of like a collaboration between what they're considering Constantinople and also this thing called Petersburg. And that's going to sort of fix the bug that was in Constantinople. And that's supposed to go live at the end of February. You can follow that with a couple of links here at the bottom. But it looks like it's going to go live roughly February 28th. And that's according to this link. I don't know what this is. Did Ethereum blockchain reach 1 terabyte yet? No. Constantinople will activate here. So I guess you could probably find this and track it down there. There's probably some other things, but that's out of the way for Ethereum. And then next we've got some really cool stuff happening, which seems cool on the outside. But if you kind of dig down into this and you're just like, well, what does this actually mean? 2 pension funds are investing in crypto. That sounds really cool. Well, this guy who you've probably seen on Twitter, what's his name? Anthony Pompliano. He's evidently behind this group called Morgan something. Where did he go? Morgan Creek Capital. And what he did was he basically raised about $40 million specifically for crypto and blockchain related companies. The entire pension, just remember, like the entire US public pension fund is made up of about $6 billion.
Probably $6 trillion, man.
Yeah, excuse me. There's 2 public pension funds that are involved in this. And that would be Morgan Creek Capital, and like evidently someone else. And what they've done here is they've put together $40 million, and they got the police officers' retirement system and employees' retirement system, both of Virginia Fairfax County, to invest into this sort of venture cap fund. And what that's supposed to be geared toward is investing in blockchain-related companies. They're going to get equity in return to that. and evidently a quote-unquote small amount will be invested in the top cryptocurrencies, excuse me, as well as tokens that will comply with the SEC Security Act of 1933. So everyone's like, oh, wow, pension funds are getting into this. I mean, it's $40 million of this huge piece of pie. I mean, it's really not that much. And I don't really think that much of it's going into cryptocurrencies like your Bitcoin and your Ethereum and, you know, et cetera, like those, and pumping the price higher. I think this seems to be more of a play around acquiring equity in these blockchain companies. And they even said later in this article that they're probably not all going to succeed, and they're just kind of betting on one or two of them really hitting it big, and they'll get their return for the pension funds that way. So, I mean, this was like
normal.
Yeah.
And you guys have heard me sort of talk about this. Like, I think that the store of value, buying cryptos for capital gains, that was, you know, the fear cycle play, and it basically played itself out. And now, and this is what I'm doing with my own money, is I'm out there hunting what are the companies that can use blockchain technology to increase profit margins. And frankly speaking, I think that makes perfect sense for the pension funds to start coming in and thinking exactly the same way, right? And that's sort of like, you know, Tim Draper and his little investment in that collectibles, artwork, antiques, going to put all the provenance on the blockchain to try and help them track ownership and stuff. Those are the kind of stories. That's the stuff I want to be investing in. How can companies leverage blockchain to both give a better product, more secure, and of course, more importantly, drive profit margins? So I think it makes perfect sense. This is exactly what's supposed to happen over the next 5-10 years, guys. So put yourself in a position to do exactly the same. And we're heading, you know, yeah, we got to get through this recession. When does it come? When do they hit the reset button? Trust me, everybody, when they hit the reset button, we'll all be like, holy shit, they just hit the reset button. But once that's done, then we can start thinking about, okay, what does the next greed cycle look like? And I'm telling you, somebody record this. Jamie, record this today. Blockchain within, if you guys can hang in this space for, say, the next 15 years, the end of that 15-year period, blockchain is going to become just a dinner table conversation piece. It's going to be a core of, you know, what they're talk about on CNBC and how companies and banks and stuff can increase profit margins and be more efficient and more what's the big thing that they like to follow? Productivity, right? If you actually talk to the feds say that the reason why the stock market and the economy is done so well is because of the productivity of the worker, and the, you know, the return on investment has just exploded over the past 50 years. Well, this is just yet another anecdote of that productivity is going to fuel stock prices higher down the road. All right, done rant. Sorry. Go ahead, sir.
Good rant. Next article, SEC releases ICO guide providing regulatory clarity. Finally, we can figure out what we can do about our ICOs and how to comply properly. And then you click the link in the article according to the first sentence of the guide on the SEC's website. Okay, so I click the guide. Say no guide. I don't know what this article is talking about. 5 things you need to know about ICOs. What investors need to know. Investor.gov, and do your basic research. This isn't a guide. This is like an FAQ on you're going to get scammed if you invest in an ICO. I don't see anything.
What a joke, eh?
Like what? I don't know what this article was about.
That's from the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. So at least now they can say, look, we told you what the risks were. You lost your money, but we told you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see anything here that's like, okay, you do X, Y, and Z, and you comply with securities law, or this needs to be done for your ICO, and you need to do this paperwork, you need to prove this. There's none of that, and it's whatever. Sorry, I shared that article.
You were saying recently, I think it was on like a Broiler Chicken show from last week, we were talking about the police and their sort of knowledge of Cryptopia and crypto itself, and you're like, These guys don't know what the hell's going on.
They can't. There's no way any of them could trace this. Like, you need to hire these firms to do it for you. The Chain Analytics or anyone else. You need like a police force for the blockchain if you really think you're going to get anything back, and it just doesn't exist.
You know, they've got transit police. It wouldn't surprise me if sometime down the road they have like blockchain police. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, you got to knock on the door. Is this Brian Beamish? We're the blockchain police. You've been making fun of the Twitter people on your private show, and I'm here to stand up for them.
Well, I don't. As long as I don't ICOTRI coin, I don't think they could give a rat's ass.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I mean, so there's another article here which I just thought was cool to share and sort of perplexing at the same time about these Bitcoin ATMs and how they've increased since 2000. Actually, every year since Bitcoin's inception and these things started coming out. Evidently, 2017 there were 965 ATMs. And by January 2018, there were 2,064 ATMs. And now, evidently, in 2019, there's 4,128 ATMs. Now, first of all, I want to know, who are the idiots that are using these ATMs to buy their crypto? You're getting ripped off. If you're listening to us and you're using it and you're getting a favorable exchange rate, you are lucky, because all the ATMs that I've gone to, their markup is insane. So clearly people are like, I want to buy Bitcoin. This seems like a good idea. I mean, I don't get the public, but hey, that's neither here nor there. It's just cool that, you know, they're making enough money and they're trying to bring this to the masses, and hopefully eventually, when there's so many ATMs out there and there are other means for people to acquire Bitcoin, that the ATMs will be forced to reduce their premium, and that'll sort of encourage the ecosystem to be more healthy and hospitable to the public using them. So that's Bitcoin ATM. Should we do some, let's do some technicals, see what the hell's going on here. I will say that last night I had a setup fire short for me on Ethereum, and I did take that. Now, as far as Bitcoin is concerned, you know, I've got this 4-hour chart. I don't really have the same setup here. So that may be why we don't really see things coming down quite as quickly. This tail kind of pumped into the market. And I think what's happening is they're waiting for these moving averages. Like, I see this happen so often where it looks like the market's going to come down, but the moving averages just aren't close enough to cross. And then they just come back up and they wait for the moving averages to sort of mellow themselves out before coming down. And you can see if there's this giant gap here on the right, in between what 2,500 and 3,400, and as I move out, there's sort of two distributions. So it kind of makes sense for us to do this in two different stages if we are going to come down. But I mean, nothing really stands out to me as far as a 4-hour setup. I mean, is there anything here on the hourly? Nothing more than just like this coiling bullish divergence that seems to be coming into the market. So the other thing that I will mention is, I mean, I guess I should probably talk about my Ethereum trade, is if I am short this thing, right? I've got this 4-hour short, this like little thing that popped up here on the MACD was just enough for me to consider that as a divergence, as this made new highs. I had my market structure on the hourly, and I'm just waiting for this thing to break down. So I'm short from about 118.5 to 119 is my range. And on the hourly, you know, I also have this, actually this bull div isn't real. This isn't an actual bull div on Ethereum. So what I did want to say is, the longer it takes for these ideas to play out to the short side, the less likely they do. And I'm sort of getting to the point where I'm about a little less than 12 hours since I've opened this position. And if this thing doesn't come to fruition in the next few, I kind of have to abandon it, just kind of thinking that this really isn't ready to collapse just yet. And that's kind of what I'm looking at when I just went through that Bitcoin short on the hourly. You can see prices making lower lows, but MACD is not making sort of the opposite to that. So we're looking at this potential bull dip.
Right?
Yeah, so that's kind of surprising. And then the other thing is this looks like a potential W's coming in here. I don't know how much this could propel the market, but I mean, the argument for going short is quickly fizzling out here. And we've got sort of like this trend line working on the hourly as far as something to work with on a bottoming basis. This seems to be trying to base in some odd way. So I don't know if this is setting up for another up move, but I may have to close out that short. And then you're probably going to look for upward targets to the long side. I don't know. Do you have those drawn out yet, Brian? Like ABCDs or continuation bots? I know you were talking about that yesterday.
Yeah, I've got your OK coin here. And this is the hourly. And I have to change the screen to make sure I'm doing this right. I think I'm showing my screen. Somebody who's watching YouTube. And just a quick side, Chris Murray there has posted a link for cbdinternational.net. I'm going to throw that in the lounge there, Chris, just in case anybody wants to do a little bit of further. Oh, I don't know what the hell that is. Oh, Thor, I guess Thor posted that. I tried to post that link in the lounge, but it's a YouTube link, so I'm not quite sure if I did that right, Thor. And you were saying earlier, about the CBD market. So I just saw a couple of people on YouTube were chatting about that. I thought I'd just make reference to that. So thank you, Chris. Thank you, Thor. 1 + 1 = 3. Now, with regard to Bitcoin, the hourlies, and I just noticed that MACD, Thomas's MACD is trying to perk up here on the hourlies. No real breakout there per se for me, but looking uppy, especially after it sort of painted some failure in here. But I had been, I think yesterday I talked to you guys about this. First and foremost, 4 hours, and I just happen to have the Phoenix chart on here. I still think we're going through this consolidation phase. And if we can paint 3 higher lows off of the 25 level, then I actually might get a nice little bullish bot that fires here. Just be interesting to see on Phoenix. We don't really have any signs of momentum confirmation there off the 4 hours. So I still think this needs a bit more consolidating before it's ready to rock and roll here. Then off of the hourlies, and I happen to have the OK coin, I thought this was really interesting. They had a very small A, B, C, D. In essence, you can see New York close on Friday. It almost felt like to me, the Phoenix chart had that nutso fuck you move right out of the gate as soon as the weekend started. But it almost felt like to me like, the OK coin, the MEX people were basically given instructions. Look, you better bring this market right back to where we left off on Friday, or there's going to be hell to pay. And then I noticed that right after the New York market opened, we dumped. And we dumped just this cute little bearish AB = CD level. And then they painted this big-ass tail here. And I'm wondering, we even commented, I don't know whether it was you, but somebody else commented, and it's just a rule of thumb for us. 80% of the time, the market likes to pivot through Tuesday, Wednesday kill zones. On London kill zone specifically. We've got now a downtrend line that is confirmed, and notice how it's going to set up off the 25 level. Like we said off that 4 hour chart, looks like it still needs a little more time to sort of gel, if you will. There is Thomas's MACD is starting to get happier, and notice that MACD, if it can perk up through the middle point here, that actually goes into divergence, right? The divergence will actually be confirmed there. Don't really have any buying pressure coming in here yet. So I still think we're setting up a trade if the trade is going to happen. And sort of what I talked about on the weekend show, I don't really see any difference here. We're consolidating. If we resolve this range bullish, then think probably good $4,000 here on Phoenix. If we resolve bearish, then probably back down to reload zones and test this original bottom. Somebody had asked, Clay Pigeon, you had asked just a moment ago, what's the rule? Wait, how am I guaranteed to make money? Do I just buy the double bottom breakout, and hopefully your Clay, you can see this double bottom, right? You could say down, up, down, breakout. Or do I let the breakout happen and draw your reload zones and try to get in on a pullback? Well, you know, I mean, trading to a certain degree, it's more of an art form than a science. Nothing's ever guaranteed in this business. I can absolutely guarantee you that nothing's guaranteed. But, you know, here's a great example where, you know, had you seen the W fire and you'd be like, okay, well, I'm just going to wait for a reload zone, shark, you know, Brian loves his candle body lows for trade location. Well, the market just said, well, fuck you. I don't care. I'm gone. See ya. I'm out of here. So you just don't know. And of course, there's a lot of people in the market that just simply play the W's. I'm going to buy the breakout, risk against the lows, and, you know, just live with the results. So hopefully, Clay, that helps you. In this particular case, the market didn't come back. And had you just bought on a stop on a break of the W, well, you know, away you go. There's nothing guaranteed in this business, either one way or the other. People were suggesting to you, I saw, you know, just shark it up kind of idea. Well, that would be, you know, let the W play itself out, big rally, draw your reload zones. And our shark is if 78.6 lines up off a previous market structure. I don't know. That's a tough one. We're really close here. But, you know, the way I look at this is the market's either going to accept, and I think we had 38.2s on here. Yeah, I had drawn, you know, we have a simple rule. We got to let 38.2 resolve. We know some of the harmonic traders, they're going to be taking profits off of this W at that 38.2. So, you know, you have to understand the sort of the context of price coming into this level. And I think we're consolidating. And yesterday's daily brief, I said, you know, I don't see a heck of a lot going on here, and we're probably just going to be sitting on our hands for the next couple of days. And I still think that's the case. I suppose you could, you know, like if we change this to a line chart, you could be hunting M's to actually get short here. But you notice with their little fuckery here, taking the market up and closing it up there, kind of broke all this M pattern. So I'm still thinking consolidation. I'm not thinking either overtly up or down right now. I'm thinking consolidation. And then going back to Thomas's hourly chart, something that sort of jumped out at me, which I think it's leaning towards bullish acceptance for me, in that we've painted our downtrend line here. That downtrend line is actually active. It's perfectly valid. Notice the dump came right down. One thing that I noticed with crypto is markets love to pivot on round numbers. So if you get a high like this, and what was this high? 36.89.98. Is that a round number? No. But notice this low. 35.11. Even. That's a round number. So I kind of like the idea that that's probably a pretty important low. Somebody of size wanted to make sure that printed as a low. We'll see. Only time will tell. You know, on the hourlies, when I did up the AB equals CD, notice there's that downtrend line, right? And then there's the 25 entry level of the bot. Notice the counter trend rally right up into sort of those levels. Ideally, what I'd love to see over the next sort of 24 hours is just some nice back and forth, and then away we go. And then ideally, what we'd really like to see, let's paint this just absolutely textbook. We want to see 1, 2, 3 tests, right? Then a pullback, and then a breakout. And ideally, the absolute perfect scenario is a nice little W just on the other side to get us in off of that 25 level. But, you know, like we've got 1 low, we've got 2 lows, we've got 3 lows. I'd like to see a little more exploration into this tail. But the thing is, right, on things like Phoenix, I don't think that tail even exists. So you notice that off the 4-hour chart, if we change this to like an hourly, let's see what that looks like. Can you see how, gee whiz, that's actually looking very 1 low, 2 lows, 3 lows, 4 lows. right? We're getting a lot of lows to work with here now to work stops. If we were just going to be drawing sort of triangle consolidations, you can see we're sort of building towards some sort of apex here. And then just as I said just a moment ago, there is the bot entry level. So ideally, I'd like to see, high, 1, 2, 3 higher lows. And I'd love to see this thing come up, test, and then break out, right? And then we know we're off to the races. So we're still in consolidation mode. And if we crap out here, I think the odds are that we're probably going to zip down into this reload zone against this original market structure, set up your shark setups on a test of sort of like, 3450, 3500, that area on Phoenix. So I don't know. Does that help? What do you think, Thomas? Did I do any value there at all? Oh, we lost Thomas. He's gone. Joshua, you'll vote for Thomas? You reckon there's a bit of value there? I hope so. Okay, so we're past the top of the hour. I don't know whether Thomas is with us now. Maybe he had to take a call, but we've done basically an hour. Whoop, now where's he? Are you back?
I'm here.
Okay. Is there anything else you wanted to add to the equation before we bid these good people a fondue dieu?
I just noticed in the fondue, in the chat, somebody asked about Litecoin.
Oh, okay.
So maybe we should just take a little look at that. This looks head and shoulderies just from a technical standpoint. It's like a messy head and shoulders. I don't think that's, technically right, actually, now that I really look at it. But nonetheless, this distribution is happening. Looks, nothing too exciting to take on the 4 hour as far as a short. And then coming down to the hourly, let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I don't really have anything other than this, bull div came into the market just from a candle body perspective and pushed the market lower. But this seems to be functioning as support for now. I guess nothing here. This was a potential bull divergence, which did come in. You got your W. We moved higher. Now you came in divergence. So this looks washy. I think that Brian's comments about markets needing a couple days to figure out what they want to do is spot on. So anecdotally, you've got this just washy. I don't think I see anything on Litecoin. How does that sound? Do you see anything different than I just said?
Yeah, that's you can see them all. Look at the washing machine, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And the worst part about it, of course, is we talked about this on the show just the other day, that spike up to like 46 bucks on your chart. Sadly, that's where the public all went raw long, and terrible trade location, and they're just getting punished now. If anything, I wouldn't be surprised if you actually drew like a fib off of your lows there, the bottom of value, back up to those highs. I would be willing to bet dollars to donuts that a reload short zone lines up almost perfectly off of that M top. Well, I would even just do the highs of like just yesterday or whatever. And you could do like, oh, here, I'll just do it on my chart. Hold on. If I change this to an hourly. So there's your hourly chart. What I'm starting to see is some confluence of ideas here. So remember, that was the end of that big move there, right? The end of the move. What does this kind of look like? Everybody should look at this and sort of intuitively start to sort of feel. What does that say? Yeah, very good, Brian. Right, I would have also accepted fractal, right? Hopefully everybody can sort of see that the very fractal nature of this. But what I was thinking when I was just listening to Thomas was watch what happens. First and foremost, you can see where the original M top is right up top here. We can also draw, level twoers just did this. You can draw your horizontal support and resistance. Think of left shoulder. And actually, we could probably just take this off the screen now. We don't need that on there anymore. Notice horizontal support and resistance is going to line up almost perfectly off of that original M top there, right? So we could do another horizontal support and resistance there. So now we've got this sort of zone. And what do you think the odds are that if I do a reload zone study from that low back up to that high, that reload zone is going to be sitting right in that area? So I would be very, very leery hunting longs here for now. Look at that. Almost perfect. You can't write this stuff any better. And no, I didn't steal this from anybody. This is my own work. Drive you crazy. So I don't know whether that helps you, but I would say that this is a major resistance level right up there. Right up in there. So we've got the original M top. We've got maybe the potential, we've got left shoulder, head, maybe a potential right shoulder here. We got reload zone, and also too, hopefully everybody's looking at this and going, oh, Mr. Hoagland, he would be more than happy to short up there above value. And of course he wants to be a buyer below value. So it should, in fact, we could probably even just do a fib off of that sort of low there. And there is, if you're trading hourly basis kind of idea, there's sort of your ping pong range. So the pit traders, all that kind of stuff, they're going to be looking for longs through this area down in here. And you can see the W. It makes sense. And my hunch is they're going to be looking for shorts up in this area here. And this is off an hourly chart, so very, very short term. We go back to that 4 hour. Is this really a good area for us to be thinking long? I don't know. That's awfully tough. This is kind of like getting really bullish of the US dollar index because it happens to have W'd up at the top end of the range. And you pull out on a higher time frame and you go, well, gee whiz, if I really wanted to be bullish and I wanted to see bullish setups come in, really I should be hunting for my green boxes, right? So green box, 61.8 to 78.6. This is actually for that clay pigeon guy. This is a really good example of shark, right? So there's 78.6. You can see where value is. This is where everybody and their brother is either long or short in the market. And there's that original W pattern. And also somebody asked, Brian, do you just go off of candle body lows and highs, or do you use the whole price action? Well, in this particular case, to draw my bot, I used this big ass fucking tail down there. And as you can see, candle bodies, that low there was very important for me. So, all right, Thomas, you got to hop. Take it easy, bud.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. Thanks. I hope you clear your mind from this Twitter nonsense now, Brian.
I don't know. It's just nonsense is what it was. Thanks for the PMA, dude.
My pleasure. Enjoy, everyone. Have a great trading day.
All right. So I hope that helps sort of you see Litecoin a little bit better. I would consider this very nosebleedy. Be careful, being a buyer up here. I think this is pretty dangerous. Now, could we continuation trade our way higher? Sure. But I'd like to see some consolidation. So we have one low. Then ultimately, I think all the level oneers learned this recently. Ideally, and we often see the bot actually sets up these really nice triangles, which we kind of see on Bitcoin right now. I don't know how far the consolidation has to be, but we have one low. So if I am going to be hunting longs here, I'd really like to see some structure come in. And if the chart starts looking like this, well, okay, then I can start thinking bot continuation. But this is going to take quite a bit of work to develop. So, okay, I think we probably should leave it at that for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the broadcast. I thought Thomas did a fantastic job. Grim, of course, I think we'll leave it at that. It's about 1/4 past the hour. So have yourselves a great day, everybody. I will be recording videos through the day today, so I'm going to be pretty busy, but I will be around. If you have questions, feel free to PM me. Have yourselves a great day, everybody. All the best. And the only thing left for a guy like me to say at this point is a big bye for now.